Welcome to the Ligas Christmas Special and the story of Tinyrella. If you're sitting comfortably, then I'll begin. Tinyrella lived at Ligas Towers, a magnificent building overlooking the prosperous town of Huddersfield, with her stepmother and two ugly sisters, Rosinda and Andymina. They expected her to do all the work, to fetch whatever they wished for, and treated her like a slave. Tinyrella was as sweet-natured as she was beautiful.
Hello, this is Tinyrella.
And didn't seem to mind their unkind ways.
Hang on a second, I'll just see. It's Nadia. Have we ordered any pizzas?
No, I don't think so.
Sorry, Nadia, it's not us. Okay, thanks, bye.
The sisters were so mean that they made Tinyrella work out in the cold corridor.
You finished that work yet, Tinyrella?
No, just 5 minutes.
Well, hurry up, because we've got more work for you.
One day, there was great excitement at Ligas Towers. The stepmother and her daughters were invited to attend Prince Charming's ball to be held at the nearby royal palace. But there was no invitation for Tinyrella. The night of the ball arrived, and the stepmother and two ugly sisters set off to the ball at the royal palace. Tinyrella was quite glad to see them go. But she sighed, I really would have loved to go to the ball. Instantly, there was a flash of light.
I'm your fairy godmother.
No, you're not. You're Adam Nash from downstairs.
No, I'm your fairy godmother. I can prove it. See?
Tinyrella couldn't go to a royal ball dressed in her rags. Fetch me the pumpkin from the larder and the 4 mice, the fairy godmother told her. Then catch a frog and bring them all to me. The pumpkin became a shining coach. The mice became 4 fine horses, and the frog changed into a coachman. The fairy godmother's next act of magic was to exchange Tinyrella's old ragged clothes for a beautiful ball gown. She simply waved her wand, and Tinyrella was surrounded by a cloud of glittering stars. Then there was a flash of bright light. By magic, Cinderella's old clothes had vanished, and she was dressed in a glittering white gown. It was the most beautiful gown Tinyrella had ever seen. Finally, the fairy godmother fitted a pair of special dancing boots. Or where the hell do you buy glass slippers? They will fit you and you alone, the fairy godmother told her. Then the fairy godmother warned Tinyrella she must leave the ball before midnight. As the clock strikes, she told her, my magic will run out. Tinyrella promised to remember, and she climbed into her coach and headed for the bright lights of the palace. Everyone at the ball was so enchanted by her beauty. Not even her dancing stepsisters recognised her. As for Prince Charming, he fell instantly in love with the beautiful stranger and would dance with no one else. Tinyrella was so enjoying herself she forgot the time. Then, as the clock began to strike midnight, she fled from the ball, and one of her boots came off as she ran down the palace steps. Next day, Tinyrella was at home again and still dealing with the same old crap. Her cruel stepmother and stepsisters could speak of nothing but the lovely girl who had danced all night long with Prince Charming. The prince also could think of nothing but the beautiful girl with whom he'd fallen in love. But all he had was her dancing boot. He vowed to search the land and marry the girl whose foot fitted the boot.
Well, come on.
It's me from PPD. Looks like our order's got lost in the post again.
Don't you there?
After many months, he arrived at Ligas Towers. The ugly sisters couldn't wait to try and squeeze their feet into the boot, but of course it was much too small for their huge feet.
Yes. You think it'll come in? There you go.
No.
Hey?
No. It doesn't fit you.
It does?
It doesn't.
Then the prince saw the shy Tinyrella and asked her to try on the boot. It fitted perfectly.
It fits. I found my perfect girl.
The prince knew then that he'd found the girl he loved. They were married and lived happily ever after. The end.